Hello everyone, I hope you can hear me and I hope you're having a wonderful day. I went back to my old microphone, so hopefully this is a lot better than my new one. I have to work out the bugs with that one. But today I'm making 10 cards using the C&CT stamp. This is the December card kit. And I'm going to give you a brief look at what comes in the kit. You get this beautiful rose gold Delicata ink. It's a very soft, beautiful gold ink. And I actually didn't use it for the 10 cards. I thought it was too soft for my sentiments, but it's nice to have in your stash. You also get some Doodlebug Sprinkles. You get the Christmas Squad Doodlebug C&CT stamp exclusive stamp set. You get some confetti sequins, and then you get your inspiration sheet, and then these are Tonic Studios glitter cardstock sheets, and they're A4 size, so they're a little bit longer than a standard size card or standard size paper. You get 3 sheets. You get candy floss, silver screen, and tropical tide. Then you get some craft cardstock and some ivory cardstock. Now I cut down and scored and made my card bases, and then I'm going to add some cardstock that I had in my stash to make my 10 cards today. So we're just going to jump in and start with card number 1. First we're going to cut out a panel. We're going to just take the scene right out of that pattern paper there. You also get the pattern paper. I lost the footage in that, but you get a Doodlebug Milk Cookies pattern paper. But I'm going to trim around the tree, and also I'm going to trim around the fireplace. Just want the basic scene here. Love that. Now I wanted to add a little bit of dimension, so I have this Marvy snow marker. I'll leave a link below to where you can check this out. But I'm going to go over the fireplace top and also Santa's hat and his beard. And then what happens is when you heat set it, it puppies up and it creates a fun added dimension. Love that look. Okay, now I'm going to take this brick pattern paper, and using my pencil I'm just going to mark the measurement of the fireplace, and then I'm going to cut out a strip of this pattern paper. For this card base I'm using a white card base, 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches, and I'm going to place that panel as if my fireplace is going all the way up to the top part of my card. I'm going to pop up my little scene with some foam tape, and then just place that on my card base. The brick pattern in the paper matched the perfect brick pattern in the fireplace, so I thought that would be fun. Okay, now we need a sentiment, so I'm going to grab some white cardstock. For this sentiment, I'm going to use the Merry Christmas, and I love the stamp set. This is just so sweet and adorable. I'm just going to stamp it in the corner. I'm going to use my VersaFine ink. Then I'm going to cut out my sentiment to a little rectangle square. Now I have some white jute cord, and I'm going to use some double-sided tape behind my sentiment here. It's a strong tape. And then I'm going to add my little twine, my jute cord right behind the sentiment, kind of looping it. I want this to be kind of like a picture frame effect. So I'm just going to grab some dimensional adhesive and pop that up. This is my favorite dimensional adhesive. It's very inexpensive and I just love this stuff. Okay, we're going to add a couple pieces to our sentiment, and then I thought it needed a little more, so I took a strip of the blue glitter cardstock and I created a background for my sentiment. Now I also grabbed a red brad from my stash, and I thought that would be perfect to hang up my little sentiment here. I'm going to stick that down to my fireplace and then add my little brad. And basically that's our scene. We do need to decorate our tree, so I'm going to grab some of the confetti sequins. I'm just going to put them in my little dish. Makes it easier. And then using my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, I decorated my tree, and then I'm going in with some glossy accents over the stockings And then this is actually Nouveau glitter drops. It's Golden Sunset. I added some to the fire just to give it a little shimmer. And that's my card. Okay, now we're going to move on to card number 2, and we're going to stamp this gingerbread 2 times. I love my gingerbreads, so these were so fun. Now I skipped the coloring only because of the time, but I did add accents of white using my white gel pen in the buttons, and I'm just going to fussy cut those out. But I think they are so adorable. I rosied up the cheeks with some pink too. Okay, now I'm going to create a panel. This is a 4 by 5 1/4 inch white panel using my rectangle dies here. And then while I'm at it, I'm going to grab some pattern paper. I like the ones that have the mixing bowls and stuff on it with the gingerbread. So I'm going to cut out a panel with this. This is a 3.5 by 4 3/4 inch panel. And then I missed this part, but I did also cut out a panel with the candy canes on it. And that's the same size. Okay, that's going to go there. And then I thought it'd be fun to do something a little different. So I'm taking the largest circle die that I have, and I'm going to cut out the left side of this panel. I want it to have a little bit of a curve, but I'm going to save the other piece. We're going to use that for another card. Now that's going to go there. And then in the pattern paper, there's these cut aparts. I'm going to cut out the sentiment. This says, "Have a sweet Christmas." I love that. I'm going to fishtail the end there. And then I also like the little sweets on this strip of pattern paper. So I'm going to cut out the polka dot piece and then use the milk and cookies and then also the little sweet strip here. And then that we're going to place that right there. I'm just going to use my tape runner and adhere the left side of this strip to my candy cane sheet. And then I'm going to trim off the excess and then flip it over and pop it up with some foam tape. This is a great way to add dimension. I'm going to place that on my little scene here. Lovely. If I can get it straight. Okay. Now I added foam tape behind my sentiment. And we're going to pop up our little gingerbread with some dimensional adhesive. And we're going to arrange our little scene. I'm going to add the sentiment on the bottom. And I was going to call that done, but then I wanted, it was just a little too busy, so to tone it down a little bit more, why not add some glitter paper, right? So I cut out like a moon shaped that was the same size as my curve, and I'm going to carefully remove that strip and place it right along the curve of that candy cane paper. I'm going to trim off anything that's overhanging. And I think that toned it, I think it looks a lot nicer. I'm just going to adhere this panel to my white panel and then place it on my white card base. And again, for all of these cards, my card bases are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. Just for some added touches, I'm going to go in with some red Nouveau crystal drops along all the cherries that are on all these little sweets, just to make them pop. And that's it for card number 3. It's not card number 3, it's card number 2. Now we're going to work on card number 3. Okay, we're going to do some stamping. Now again, for all of the images, I skipped the coloring. The video was running a little bit long, and so I had to trim off the coloring. But I'm stamping Mr. and Mrs. Claus here, and then I'm going to stamp the little milk cup along with the little chocolate chip cookie. The first one I stamped, I didn't stamp too well, so I'm going to stamp that cookie one more time. But I colored them in, and then I just fussy cut them out. These images were really easy to cut out. And I'm also going to stamp my sentiment. I'm going to stamp the Christmas clause. Christmas is clause for celebration. I'm going to do that on the bottom because I'm going to end up cutting out that bottom piece. Okay, So I just finished my coloring, and now I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut those out. I messed up on her hand. I colored Santa's gloves black, but I went to color, I actually colored her hand in black. So I had to kind of erase, and I kind of fixed it, but I'm going to cover her little hand mess up with my cookie. So here I trimmed out my sentiment panel, and then this was the other piece that went to card number 2. I'm going to adhere that to my sentiment sheet there. And just to add a little bit extra, I'm going to trim down a little, it's about a 1/2-inch strip of the glitter paper, the silver glitter paper, and then I thought it'd be fun just to use this polka dotted strip. Using my Nouveau Deluxe adhesive, I'm just going to add my pattern paper to my glitter paper. It's just so a little bit's peeking out. I'm going to secure the candy cane dome shape panel to my sentiment panel. And then we're going to add a little border here. Now I did add some white jute cord. I doubled it up and put it to the top, covering up that seam there. Now we're just going to arrange our little scene. I popped everything up with dimensional adhesive. Santa's holding the little glass of milk. Mrs. Claus is going to hold that cookie. I'm going to place it over my mess up hand. And then I'm going to add one of the Doodlebug Sprinkles here. I wanted to add a little container of milk. I decided to pop that up with some dimensional adhesive, just so everything's the same layer. I'm going to place that in Mrs. Claus' other hand. Okay, now I cut out a panel of using the polka dotted pattern paper. It's 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm just going to adhere that to my white card base. I'm going to place it right in the center. Then I'm going to pop this panel up with some foam tape, and then that's going to go right in the center. Now, just to make everything a little bit more balanced, I added some silver stickles in my background there, and then also on Santa's belt. And then using my glossy accents, I filled in my little cup of milk. So that's it for that card. So cute. I love these little images. They are so fun. Okay, now we're going to move on to card number 4. I cut out a panel here of using the red and white stripe paper. This one is 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to use the little Santa cut out, the Santa that's sitting in the little chair. I thought he was so cute. And then I'm also going to use a sentiment that says, "We wish you a Merry Christmas." I just cut out that strip there. I'm going to use a black piece of cardstock, and I'm going to pop up my little Santa Claus on it right towards the bottom. And then I'm going to pop up my sentiment here and place that right above it. Now I want to add a few of the little sprinkles on the top portion of the black cardstock. So I used the little red and white candy and then all of the hearts. I'm going to pop this panel up and place it on my stripe paper. Place it right in the center here. And then using my tape runner, I'm going to adhere it. This is a blue card base. I tried to find a blue that coordinated with the Santa Claus. And so that's it for that card. So cute. Okay, now we're going to move on to our next card. For this card, we're going to do a little stamping. I'm going to stamp the Santa Claus and also the Christmas tree. I'm just using my Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And I colored all of my images in with my alcohol markers. Now I'm just coloring them in, fussy cut them out. And now we're going to build our little scene. So cute. I didn't bother coloring in the ornaments on the tree because we're going to use the sequins to fill that in. Now these are some Lawn Fawn hillside border dies. I'm going to cut out 2 little snowbanks using white cardstock, and I'm going to use this snowflake pattern paper as my background. So I'm just going to arrange my snowbanks, and then I'm going to use my stitched rectangle die and cut out everything at once. That way it just gives it a nice tidy look. Okay. Now we're going to adhere the first snowbank directly to our panel, and then we're going to pop up the second snowbank with some foam tape. I'm going to place that right in the bottom there. Lovely. Okay, now I wanted to add a little bit of something. So I'm going in with my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive over the Santa's hat, and also the cuffs of his coat, and then the bottom of his coat. And then I also added a little bit of accent to the Christmas tree on each of the little layers of the tree. And then in my stash I have this chunky glitter. I'm going to add that to give a little bit of shimmer to these elements. Just going to dust it off. And I think he looks so cute. Love that shimmer on Santa. Okay. I'm going to take that Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, and I'm going to do the exact same thing to the top parts of the snowbank. Give that a little bit of shimmer as well. Okay. And clean up my mess here. And then I found some blue and white baker's twine that matched that snowflake pattern paper pretty well. I'm just going to wrap it around the bottom a couple times. And just tie a bow to the right side of it. Trim off the ends here. And then we're going to build our little scene. Now for the Christmas tree, I did, for the sentiment, I chose Happy Holidays from the cut-aparts here. And then I did fishtail to the right side of it. Okay, now we're going to build our little scene. The Christmas tree I adhered, well, I guess we're not building it yet, huh? Sorry. Okay, I'm going to adhere my panel to my card base. For this card base, I'm using the craft cardstock that came in the kit. And then I'm carefully going to arrange my scene. I just added tape behind my Christmas tree and adhered that down to the back. And then I did pop up Santa with some dimensional adhesive. And then I'm decorating my Christmas tree with the confetti sequins. And then I thought I needed a little more, so from my stash I have these sequins here. These are actually little itty bitty ivory or vanilla flowers. To me they're versatile because they look like snowflakes too. So I'm going to cover the background with some of these flowers to create a little snowflake effect. And that's it for that card. I think he turned out so cute. Okay, now our next card's very simple. I'm going to take this little advent calendar here and I'm going to trim it down to where it's 3 across, 4 down. There we go. And then I'm going to grab some square rectangle dies that I have, and I'm going to cut out Mrs. Claus. She was right in the center, so we're just going to cut her out. So now we have a little window in this panel. For this card base, I'm using a red card base. I'm going to take my pencil and draw around the inside square. And then this way I know where to stamp my sentiment. For my sentiment for this card, I chose Merry Christmas. And I'm just going to use my anti-static powder tool and go over the square that I drew in. And then I'm going to use my Versamark ink and stamp Merry Christmas. Okay, now I'm just going to go in with some Glacier White embossing powder from Nuvo. And I went ahead and melted that sentiment. And then to get that powder off, well, I'm going to erase my pencil mark first, and then I'm just going to use my hand and rub that anti-static powder off there. Okay. Now I'm taking a larger die than my panel here, and I thought we needed a little shimmer, so I cut out this glitter paper here, and that's going to go right behind my panel. So I'm going to take my tape runner and adhere that to my red card base. Make sure my sentiment's still centered there. And then I'm going to pop up this panel with foam tape. Give it a little bit of dimension. Place that in the center. And then we need some bells and whistles. So I'm going to take those Doodlebug Sprinkles. The nice thing about the sprinkles is they match the sizes in the paper pad, and I love that. So I'm taking the little gumdrop and placing it over the gumdrop down there on the bottom. This little candy fit right there. And taking the spoon and adding it to the milk and cookies on number 7. And then I'm going to crisscross the candy canes right above my sentiment. We need a little bit of shimmer. So I'm going to be going in with some Nuvo glitter drops. These are White Blizzard, and I added dots here and there to give it a little sparkle. And that's it for that card. Very simple, but I think it turned out real fun. Okay, now we're going to move along. Card number 7, we're going to do some stamping. I'm going to stamp the Santa here. We're going to stamp all the family here. So we're going to stamp the kitty and the doggy. And then we're going to stamp Mrs. Claus and Santa. We're going to put them all on this card. Okay. I'm going to flip that panel over and I'm going to stamp my sentiment. For the sentiment for this one, I chose From Our Squad to Yours, Merry Christmas, which is adorable. And I'm just going to stamp it with my VersaFine ink right along the bottom. And then I'm going to cut out a strip with that sentiment there. I did color in everything with my alcohol markers. And I fussy cut them out. Okay. Here's what they look like. So sweet. Love those little images. Okay. Now we need our little scene here. So I have these 2 pattern papers. I cut out the green pattern paper that had the real pale polka dots to 4 by 5 1/4, and then this panel here, the pattern paper, is 3.5 by 4 3/4 inch. So it's going to fit right inside that green panel. Next, I'm going to take my circle dies, and I'm going to cut out 3 circles, 3 different size circles for windows, and that pattern paper here. Okay. Now I wanted to frame them in, give it a finished look, so I have the Nina Desert Storm, the 100-pound cardstock that came with the kit. I actually have that. So I'm using that cardstock to cut out my window frames here. And I like the stitch edging around it. I think it looks very nice. I'm just going to use my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive and add glue behind all my frames and place them over the circles on that panel. And you'll notice that when I cut out my circles on the panel, that it cut out the edges of my paper. And I didn't mind that because I like the look that it gives when my window frame overhangs. And then it just kind of completes it all together. So those are my windows, and that's going to go there. But we need to add our little peekaboo family. I'm just going to use my tape runner and it secure all my little images behind the little windows. Mr. and Mrs. Claus are a little bit cozy, but I thought they looked cute, so I left them. I'm going to trim off the excess here. Okay, now I'm going to take my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, and I'm going to give all, since everybody's wearing a Santa hat, I thought we're going to add a little bit of shimmer to all of the Santa hats using my chunky glitter. Now I pop this panel up with foam tape, and I'm going to place it on my green polka dot panel here. And then using my tape runner, I'm just going to add that panel to my card base. Using my tape runner, I'm just going to add my sentiment right along the bottom there. I'm going to trim it down. But that's it. That's it for that card. I thought that was a fun little, cute little card there. Okay. Now we're going to move along to card number 8. I'm going to cut out this panel here with white cardstock. Very simple card for this one. This panel is 4 by 5 1/4. And then I have 3 strips of pattern paper. I have the brick, the little diamond shaped pattern, and then I also have the green two-tone pattern. I'm going to adhere the brick directly to my panel from top to bottom here. Trimmed off the excess. And for these 2 strips, I'm going to fishtail the ends. And then for the sentiment, I'm going to use this little cut apart. This one says December 25th, and I love the little gingerbread on it, so I thought that would be cute. So I'm just kind of figuring out my placement and trimming off any excess. Then I'm going to add the green right to the top. And I used my tape runner to secure both of my fishtail banners together. And then I also added my little cut apart here. Now I'm going to take this entire piece and then pop it up with foam tape and place that on my panel. Lovely. I'm going to place my panel on my red card base, and I did pop that up with foam tape as well. And then just to give it a little bit of dimension, I'm placing the little Doodlebug Sprinkles, the gumdrop, and the gingerbread on that panel, and they match perfect, and I love that about this. So that's it for that card. Very simple but very fun. Now for card number 9, these were the leftover pieces of the previous card that I had made with the windows, so I'm going to use those. We're going to put those to good use. So I'm grabbing circle dies that are slightly larger, and I cut out 3 circles with the glitter paper, and then using some double-sided tape I secured that to the glitter cardstock. I'm going to punch holes in each of the top. I'm going to create tags out of these. I'm just going to grab an eyelet. It's a silver eyelet, and I'm going to add it to all 3 of my little tags. We created kind of like our little homemade tags here. Next, I threaded each of those with some red and white baker's twine. And then I'm just going to pop them up with some dimensional adhesive on my panel there. And then I tied bows with all of that baker's twine. For my sentiment, I used one of the cut aparts. And then this one is so cute. It says "We belong together." And so I thought the milk and cookies and the gingerbread would go perfect inside of those circles. So cute. Okay, now I popped this panel up with some foam tape, and we're going to place that on a red card base. And that's it. That's it for card number 9. Okay. Moving on to card number 10. 10 was so super simple. Now originally I was going to use the little milk with the cookies, so I'm taking a square stitched rectangle die and I was going to cut that out. Next I'm going to take a larger square die and cut out a piece of white cardstock. And then I'm going to grab the pink, the cotton, is it cotton candy? It's candy floss, glitter paper. And I'm going to cut out a square with that too. So here you can see I changed my mind and decided to use the little Christmas pudding, which I love those things. So cute. I'm going to place the glitter paper on my white cardstock, and then I'm going to pop up my little Christmas pudding with some dimensional adhesive and place that right in the center. So that's our little focal point. For this card base, I'm using a pink card base that kind of coordinates really pretty with it. And now we're going to stamp our sentiment. The sentiment for this card, I wanted definitely to use that little sentiment that says, "All I want for Christmas is cookies and you." Basically everything sweet. Love that. So I'm using my Versamark ink. I stamp my sentiment directly on my card base, and then I'm going in with my Glacier White embossing powder, and I went ahead and melted that. So there's our sentiment. Now I'm just going to directly adhere my little scene on my card base here. And then for an extra little touch, I'm taking my glossy accents and I'm going over those little hearts, and then the cherry, and then also the cake plate, the base of that. And that's it for card number 10. Very cute. Very simple, but very cute. Here's a quick look at all 10 cards I made today. Using, again, this is the Simon Says Stamp December 2017 card kit. Love the Doodlebug images in this kit. I thought it was so fun. I hope this gives you some ideas on what to do with the kit. I know there's a lot of wonderful, fantastic ideas out there. So I just want to give you a few more. But let me know what you think. Leave me a comment below. Hit that thumbs up button. And if you're new and want to see more, hit that subscribe button. At the end here, I'll show close-up pictures of each of the cards that I made. And then also on my blog too. The pictures are probably a little bit clearer. But I want to thank you for putting up with my volume issues. I'm so sorry, but I'm back to the old one. I hope you, well, I know you can hear this one, but we will see you again real soon, guys. Happy crafting. Bye-bye.